Hello! Side lying legs is what's going to happen today. So you're going to lie down on the ground, stretch the bottom arm out and rest your head on it. Put a pillow there if need be. Bring the bottom leg forward for better stability so you don't rock. And the next important thing is get your boob out the way. Especially if they're a little bit bigger than mine. Grab them and hoist it out. You'll lie on your side a lot nicer. Belly button. So this is how you can see if the core's on. So if you look, when I pull up and in, if it goes, it all hangs down. And when I pull it in, my belly button goes up to the top waist. So not the best position for most people to lie on the side. But if you pull the belly button up to the top waist and keep it there, then you're not all hanging out, basically. So really important thing that's often forgotten when we do this. And you've got a little bit of space underneath that, not because I forced it, but because I pulled my belly button into the top of my waist. I like saying that. From a side position, from the long angle, I want the leg in line with my hip, in line with my shoulder, which I did a pretty good job there. Normally my leg is a little bit too far behind me, but I managed somehow today to get myself in line. Got it? All right, here we go. So long arm, put a pillow there as we say if we need. Bottom leg bent underneath. Belly sucked in, hand could go behind your back to check your spine's not moving at any time. And all we're going to do to start off with is get that leg lifting and lowering. The knee points directly forward and the leg comes up and down, but not so high that you shift your pelvis. So the length in the top waist, which is kind of what my fingers were doing there, is making that happen, or the hand on the pelvis can push it away. Belly button is in, hand in front of you for balance can also help. And then, I don't know if you noticed my foot, I went to a flexed foot instead of it being pointed. Now I've gone pointed instead of being flexed. It will feel different. So play with it, see what happens. I find if I keep my foot super flexed, my lower leg works. Here I've got hip rotation, so my whole leg is turning from the hip joint. Okay, not my foot waving around, my foot is attached. So that's what we're going to add in as we do forward and back. So steady your body. And then as the leg comes forward, we're going to, we're just going to take it forward and back to start off with. Okay, knee always facing front. When the leg goes back, that's an exhale and a time to really keep your body as still as possible, because here we are simply isolating the hip joint. We're not integrating it with anything. Now here's that rotation. So as the leg comes forward, the knee turns in. As the leg goes back, the knee turns out. So you're really working around the different fibers of the glutes. If you're curious, we have three: the gluteus minimus, medius, and then the maximus is the one that activates when that leg turns out. I'm holding it back there, doing funky little circles. By now, my butt was actually starting to hurt quite a lot. Although I look quite relaxed in my face, that's your plan. So circles forward and back, as many as you might want to make it burn a bit more. Great for the hip joint and really centering it in its socket. Knee bends, so that leg, the upper leg stays still as I just bend and straighten the knee like I'm kicking my bum. And keeping the hip open there, keeping the knee in line with my body or a little bit behind if possible, because that gives us some hip extension. And then this is what this is. Leg stays bent and I just pulse the thigh backwards, opening up the front of my hip, getting my butt working, core working, and Now, once we've got all that on, we need to do something with it. So you're going to balance on the one leg and pick up the other one. And then now you do have a slight tilt. Don't expect yourself to be truly vertical. So there's a little wee tip over, and then I'm actually going to purposefully start tipping. Go on, Lisa, start tipping. I'll do it. There you go. Wee, I go over. So now I'm moving my pelvis over the hip joint instead of moving the hip in the pelvis. And this is really all the glutes function, especially the minimus and medius. They're kind of stabilizers. Yes, they move, but they really kind of do stuff to hold the hip in place, and that's often what's lacking. So I am going to do my other side so you can see the back view. So up and down, core comes in, long body line, and this is my leg that's not so clever, bless it. So disc issues affected how my hip kind of held me basically. There's the little rotation. So if you've ever had ankle strains or at the moment got some knee issues, start looking at your hip and what your hip is doing and if it is stable. I mean, these could be some of the exercises to help get out of it. So what I noticed when I started doing this, when I took my leg too much forward, I really let my hip hike and rocked forward a bit. So I minimized my range to make sure that didn't happen. by placing my hand where you see it there, it kind of helped me to notice if my spine was moving. Rotation, you can see it turns in, stays at the front, turns out. Great, great, great move. I'm going to point to you in a minute as to where you kind of feel these. I think I did. Circles going on there, keeping it behind the body as well as in front of the body, so you get hip flexion and hip extension. Often the extension is the thing we're not good at. So underneath the butt is where you feel the donkey kick. So thigh is back. You can kind of see those two lines. That's my hamstrings, and when my leg straightens, you can see kind of the belly. And then little pulses back, pulses back, pulses back. Again, keep the body still as you do the pulse from where my finger is pointing to, right underneath one's butt cheek. Then we get up, we rearrange if need be, and off we go. We're going to balance on that one side. Poking your tongue out can help. It's a way to find stability. But you don't have to. It's just a little habit I have every now and again. So, once you're done, you can hang off the trapeze, do your dance up there for a change. It's my little podium. Swing down and say goodbye. Thanks.